Have you ever met someone who doesn't have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, or even X? In a world where billions of people spend hours every day scrolling through social media, choosing not to use it can seem unusual. Some people even wonder if those individuals are missing out on life. But what if the opposite is true? The psychology of people who don't use social media is surprisingly fascinating. Their decision often reveals unique personality traits, different priorities, and a completely different way of experiencing the world. First, let's clear up a common misconception. People who avoid social media are not necessarily antisocial. In fact, many of them enjoy spending time with friends, family, and colleagues. The difference is that they prefer real-world interactions over digital ones. Research suggests that face-to-face communication creates deeper emotional connections than online interactions. For these individuals, a meaningful conversation over coffee is worth more than hundreds of likes on a post. Another interesting psychological trait is independence. People who stay away from social media are often less influenced by social pressure. Social platforms constantly expose us to trends, opinions, lifestyles, and expectations. Every day we see what others are buying, wearing, eating, and achieving. Over time, this can subtly shape our own decisions. People who don't use social media often make choices based more on their own preferences rather than on what is popular. Psychologists call this having a strong internal locus of control. Instead of seeking validation from others, they tend to trust their own judgment. There is also the issue of comparison. Social media creates endless opportunities to compare ourselves with others. We compare our appearance, income, relationships, vacations, and achievements. The problem is that we are usually comparing our everyday reality to someone else's carefully edited highlight reel. Many people who avoid social media recognize this trap. They understand that constantly comparing themselves to others can reduce happiness and increase anxiety. By staying away, they protect their mental well-being and focus more on their own journey rather than someone else's. Another psychological factor is the value they place on attention. Social media platforms are designed to capture and hold our attention for as long as possible. Every notification, like, comment, and recommendation is carefully engineered to keep us engaged. People who choose not to use social media often have a strong awareness of how valuable their attention is. They may prefer spending their time reading books, learning new skills, exercising, pursuing hobbies, or simply being present in the moment. Instead of constantly reacting to notifications, they intentionally decide where their focus goes. Many of these individuals are also comfortable with solitude. This doesn't mean they are lonely. In psychology, solitude and loneliness are very different things. Loneliness is feeling disconnected from others. Solitude is being alone while feeling content and at peace. People who don't rely on social media often develop the ability to enjoy their own company. They can sit quietly with their thoughts, reflect on their experiences, and entertain themselves without needing constant digital stimulation. Interestingly, they may also experience lower levels of fear of missing out, commonly known as FOMO. Social media constantly reminds us of events we didn't attend, places we didn't visit, and opportunities we may have missed. This can create a feeling that everyone else is having a better life. Without that constant stream of updates, many non-social media users experience less pressure to keep up with others. They focus more on what they are doing right now instead of worrying about what everyone else is doing. Privacy is another major reason. Some people simply value keeping their personal lives personal. They don't feel the need to share every vacation, meal, achievement, or life update online. Psychologically, these individuals often separate self-worth from public recognition. They don't need an audience to validate their experiences. There is also evidence that people who avoid social media may experience greater mindfulness. Since they spend less time documenting moments, they often spend more time living them. Imagine attending a beautiful sunset and watching it with your own eyes instead of through a smartphone camera. Many people who avoid social media prioritize that direct experience. Of course, not everyone stays away from social media for the same reasons. Some have had negative experiences online, others find social media distracting or emotionally draining. Some simply don't enjoy it. Human behavior is complex and every person's motivation is different. It's important to remember that using social media is not inherently bad. These platforms can help people stay connected, learn new things, build businesses, and find communities with shared interests. The key difference lies in how people use them and whether they control the technology or the technology controls them. Perhaps the most interesting psychological insight is that people who don't use social media often challenge a modern assumption that being constantly connected is necessary for happiness. Their lifestyle reminds us that fulfillment can come from many different sources, including real relationships, meaningful work, personal growth, and quiet moments of reflection. So the next time you meet someone who doesn't use social media, don't assume they're disconnected from the world. They may simply be connecting with it in a different way. And in a world full of notifications, updates, and endless scrolling, that choice might be more powerful than it seems. What do you think? Could you live without social media for a month, or even a week? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want more fascinating psychology insights, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.